Personal story segment tonight. As we reported last night, the president of the NAACP, Ben Jealous, is on a mission to brand the Tea Party as racist. Mr. Jealous has avoided Fox News, but did show up last night on NBC and CNN, where he continued his tirade against the Tea Party.
What we did is we said, repudiate the racists in your ranks, repudiate the acts of bigotry. We've sat here and we've watched as you've carried these vile signs. We've sat here and we've watched these vile statements. We've sat here and we've watched as you've called civil rights icons and congressmen like John Lewis the N-word and Barney Frank the F-word.
In an appearance later on CNN, after the factor had scorched Mr. Jealous for ignoring the Black Panther story, he did repudiate the Panthers. Interesting. But once again, he will not appear with us. But Dana Perino and Leslie Marshall will. Ms. Perino joins us from Washington. Ms. Marshall is in Los Angeles. So, Leslie, what do you think about this guy, Ben Jealous? What do you think about him?
I think he's doing his job. Remember, he's working with and for the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, right? And, of course, colored people doesn't just mean African American, but that's largely the base and has been historically of the organization. What I think he's saying, and what I think a lot of Americans say, and actually even Tea Party members that called my program last night, Bill, on the radio, are saying that the Tea Party needs to weed out their bad apples, needs to hold those who have these types of ideas or bad messages like that billboard in Iowa accountable. In other words, it's your group, and if you're not...
What was the billboard in Iowa?
The billboard in Iowa with President Barack Obama, Adolf Hitler, and Lenin.
And that was that was funded by the Tea Party?
Iowa Tea Party, and they took it down. And the Tea Party members asked that.
Okay, I'm not sure it was funded by them, but we will check it out. But here, one more question for you, Leslie, before we get to Dana. It's the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, right? Does the Black Panther Party advance the welfare of Black Americans in this country? Does a new Black Panther Party advance African Americans here? Does it?
Well, first of all, I think
Leslie, does the new Black Panther Party advance the cause of African Americans? Yes or no?
Oh, you're mean. No, but they're a very small group that has been chastised by the ADL
They're not advancing
and other
anything
groups.
at all. They're hurting African Americans. They're hurting them. All right? So that takes that right off the table. How do you see this? What do you think of Jealous, Dana?
Well, let me defend Leslie for a second, because I think in any group, in any political party, in any situation, you can have people on the fringes of either side. And I think that's one of the things that surprised me about this past week is how easily people throw around the word racist. Megyn Kelly just said it's a charged term. It's very easy to say. It rolls off the tongue. It's very hard to take back.
Yeah, but they do that all the time. You guys are relatively new to the factor, but I've been branded a racist for 13 years here, okay? Because they just don't like me. But, Dana, you're sticking up for Leslie, but Leslie's absolutely wrong, okay? The National Association for the Advancement of Colored People are trying to be looking out for minorities. When you have the Black Panthers, all right, disgracing under the name of some kind of racial organization, disgracing themselves, and you ignore that and go after a Tea Party movement where a few nuts have disgraced themselves, and we'll look into this Iowa situation, all right, it's wrong. If Justice were a fair man, if Jealous were a fair man, all right, he would condemn all of it across the board, anything that harmed African Americans, whether it's from another African American or not. He would condemn it. You know I'm right, Dana. I can see it in your face. You know I'm right.
What we were just talking about is if the Iowa Tea Party did fund that sign and then they took it down, that is the very self-policing that Leslie was mentioning that doesn't happen in the NAACP.
If the Iowa Tea Party put it up in the first place with a Hitler mustache on Obama, that is an atrocity. Period.
It is, and they took it down, and that's what I mean in terms of the fringe.
I don't care if they took it down or not. The fact they put it up disqualifies
It's wrong, and that's why I'm saying that there's the fringe on both sides. But what he did yesterday, following on Michelle Obama's comments on the first day, was to draw attention to their organization in a way, the only way that they could, which was in a defensive, destructive manner. It's not going to help them.
It's tired, but it does take traction. Hey, Leslie, you know, you don't use this. I know you well enough and listen to your program. You don't use this kind of invective on your show. I can't believe you're not condemning it when it's used in other areas.
Oh, actually, I have, Bill. You have to listen more. First of all,
you have condemned it.
If any organization, new, old, to be Part 3, a Black Panther organization, were to say something disparaging about the black community, you can bet the NAACP would be on it. And as you've mentioned, Bill, they did, in a sense, condemn, Black Panther 2 or the new Black Panthers, if you will.
Only after I called them out, Leslie. It was they watched The Factor and they ran over to CNN.
That was their motivation. That's it.
That's why they did it.
I'm sure that's it. Or maybe it was after listening to my show.
No,
maybe,
Leslie,
no.
With all due respect. All right,
Yes.
ladies. We
I won't fight numbers with you, Bill. There.
We appreciate you taking the time tonight. Directly ahead.